What's up, everyone? Mr. New2 Gamer. Today I'm going to give you guys my wish list for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is the presumed title for the next Call of Duty game after Cold War, which will get released in the fall of 2021, a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019. You guys know what I think about Modern Warfare 2019. If they're going to make a sequel, there's a lot of work that they have to do to improve the experience a lot, because I think that Modern Warfare 2019 is easily the worst Call of Duty multiplayer I've ever played. The single player was actually really solid, and we'll talk about the single player first, actually. Let's just get that out of the way. So as far as a Modern Warfare 2 reboot single player, well, since we saw Zakayev in Modern Warfare 2019, who was a character in COD 4, it's easy to guess that Makarov will make an appearance in Modern Warfare 2 in the campaign. And I don't know exactly how the story is going to play out. I'm sure it's not going to be exactly the same as Modern Warfare 2, but I presume that we're going to see a similar World War III situation break out like we did in the Modern Warfare 2 campaign, the original Modern Warfare 2 campaign. So I'm not sure. I mean, they do a good job when it comes to single player. Infinity Ward always makes a good campaign. Even Call of Duty Ghosts and Infinite Warfare, which are two games that so many people hate, no one trashes the story because those stories were awesome. And people keep asking for a Call of Duty Ghosts 2 and a sequel to Infinite Warfare because of the single player campaign alone. So I'm not worried about the campaign. They can do whatever they want with it because I trust them completely. But we're going to focus mostly in this video on the multiplayer because there's a lot of work to be done. But let's start off with the good things that they don't really need to change so much of. First of all, the weapon design in Modern Warfare 2019 was fantastic. The variety of weapons and the Gunsmith customization, it was an amazing experience, and it was a really cool thing they added to the Call of Duty series that they can expand upon and improve with next-gen hardware. I'm sure the weapons can look and feel even better in Modern Warfare 2 because the weapons, they feel so responsive. I mean, they feel really good to handle. Like, that's one thing you can say that's really good about Modern Warfare 2019 is the way they designed the weapons and the way that they handle in-game. So, not much improvement they can make. They can improve it a little bit just so it's not like a carbon copy, like it's not a clone of Modern Warfare 2019 like MW3 was with MW2. So it doesn't get too stale. They can change it up a little bit to make it feel like a different game, but they don't need to drastically overhaul it, is what I'm trying to say. So that's one thing. As far as the Gunsmith, though, I think one thing they can improve was that, yes, you had all this customization and all these modifications you can make, essentially turning your AK-47 into an SMG, changing the types of rounds it can take, and all these different modifications you can make on all of these weapons, but most of it is just not viable. You can't, if you're gonna come in a 1v1 gunfight with someone with an MP5 or any, like, a regular SMG, your modification is not gonna do well against that, and you're probably gonna die. You're gonna lose that gunfight. So I think one thing they can do is just make it more balanced and make it more viable, because yeah, it's nice to have all this customization, but most of the time when you're customizing, you're not trying to do it competitively. You're just trying to fuck around and do something different, because most of your customizations are not, you're not going to do so well competitively. Like, turning an M4, you can theoretically turn an M4 or an M13 into a sniper rifle, but are you going to do so well against a real sniper rifle? Probably not. I think they can improve upon it a little bit to make it matter a lot more and make your customization feel more important, because that was something I really... It kind of negated the whole purpose of the Gunsmith when most of it just wasn't viable, wasn't usable. So that's one that's like the one big improvement they can make. But otherwise, the Gunsmith and the overall weapon design was phenomenal in Modern Warfare. Maybe they can add, of course, as far as weapons, they can add new guns like the ACR, the UMP-45, the AA-12, and all of that. But they don't need to do too much, to change with Modern Warfare 2, because that was the one bright spot of Modern Warfare 2019, was the overall direction they went with the weapons. As far as sound design, that's another thing I really like in Modern Warfare 2019, except the footsteps are too damn loud. Make them quieter. Make dead silence a perk. Like, that's all they need to do, and then the sound design will be perfect, because I had no problem with the way everything sounded in that game, and that's another thing they did really well, except for the footsteps. It helps campers, it helps people that don't want to move, because they know exactly where you are, because they can hear you really well, and there's no stealth involved, and it's annoying. It's really annoying. They need to make the footsteps quieter. Just make them the way they were in previous Call of Duties. Like, I understand they're going for a more realistic presentation, and realistically, if you're running around in a building, yeah, your footsteps are going to be very loud, but there needs to be a balance. Like any video game, there needs to be a balance between realism and fun, and that's one thing you need to do, is turn down the footsteps quite a bit. Make them a lot quieter, and make dead silence a perk. Oh my god, why is that not a perk? I still don't understand that. But as far as map design goes, Piccadilly, Euphrates Bridge, Azure Cave, St. Petrograd, all terrible maps. They need to do better than that. Yeah. Remake some maps like Terminal, even like some lesser known maps from the original MW2 like Quarry and Skid Row. It would be really cool, but they shouldn't focus too much on remaking old maps. And remaking old maps doesn't really solve the problem of the overall gameplay not being friendly for rushers. With the exception of Shipment, you had maps like Crash and Backlot from the original Call of Duty 4. That did not play very well in Modern Warfare 2019, so remaking maps isn't going to solve the problem, but I do think Terminal would be a really fun addition. I think bringing back some old maps that we all know and love, and some of the lesser known maps to keep things fresh, because if we get the same maps remade over and over again, it kind of gets redundant, like Nuketown and Jungle and Firing Range and Treyarch Call of Duties. We need to freshen things up a little bit. But as far as like new map design, they need to be better than the ones we got in the first game. We need fewer lines of sight, and that was the big problem with Piccadilly. You can get shot from literally 20 different directions, and there's no way for you to move around. You're like pinned down in one part of the map, and it's just not a good experience. Same thing with Euphrates Bridge. I mean, holy shit. Like, there's so many different places you can get shot from in that map, and St. Petrograd's another one. It's just, yeah, they need to, I'm not going to say, like, make it like Treyarch where they're all 3-lane maps. I don't think that's necessary, because you do have some maps that Infinity Ward has made that are not necessarily 3 lanes, but they play very well, like Freefall, and I know people hate Freefall, but actually like that map. They don't need to just copy what Treyarch does, but they need to do something different this time than what their direction was with Modern Warfare 2019. It's just, these maps were awful, and they need to make them better. That's all I have to say about that. Just make it easier to move, easier to flank around, because it's like very rarely do the spawns even flip. How many times have you seen a spawn flip in Piccadilly and Euphrates Bridge? Even Azure Cave, it's a rare occurrence. So they need to make it more friendly for rushing, because I feel like that's what Call of Duty is all about. It's not about chilling in a building and camping. It's about getting yourself out there and getting in these intense gunfights, not just hanging out in the building waiting for someone to peek their head out and then shoot their head off. Like, that's not Call of Duty. But, yeah, map design is a big improvement they need to make. They need to figure something out. And visibility is another thing that needs to be drastically improved. A lot of the longer range gunfights, they're so infuriating because you can't see anyone. Like, you can't see that an enemy is pointing their gun at you and they're about to kill you. Like, it's just, you can't see a goddamn thing in this game, especially when it comes to the longer range gunfights. So they need to improve visibility a lot. Maybe make the nameplates show at longer distances, a lot more than in Modern Warfare 2019. Maybe just overall, just do whatever they can to improve the visibility, because that was a big problem in Modern Warfare 2019, and I feel like that would make gunfights a lot less frustrating if you can actually see if someone's shooting at you. Yeah, that'd be nice, because a lot of the times when I die, I'm just getting shot, and I don't even know where I'm getting shot from, and then I'm dead. So, I haven't had that problem so much in other Call of Duty games like this one, so that needs to be improved a lot. Doors. That's a common thing that is brought up in Modern Warfare 2019 as one of the biggest flaws of the game. Now, I'm going to take a halfway approach. There's some people that say you need to take out the doors completely. You need to get rid of them completely. And they just can't be in Modern Warfare 2. I'm going to give a half, I'm going to have, a solution that can maybe appeal to both sides, people who love the doors and people who hate the doors. The thing about the doors, though, is that it's very hard to take out campers. They set their Claymore or their Bouncing Betty right at the door, so then when you open the door, you're instantly dead. There's just no way for you to get around that. And then enemies peek at the door because they could see you opening it, and they're like, oh, someone's coming in, and then they're ready for you. The doors are a huge problem, and that's part of the reason why people camp so much, is because the doors empower them. And of course the Claymore and the Bouncing Betty is a big thing because they can't just shoot the Claymore from a distance because it's locked behind a door. But when you open said door, the Claymore goes off. So that's a problem. That's a big problem we've seen, especially since there are so many goddamn doors in all these buildings. Doors need to be overhauled in Modern Warfare 2. I personally think it would be probably best if doors do get removed completely, but I'm going to say maybe they can keep them in and it can work. Okay, so here's how they can keep doors in Modern Warfare 2 and make it a lot more enjoyable and make the game more fair for people who like to rush and people who actually like to play the goddamn game. They could do what they do in Battlefield. Make the doors destructible, you can shoot through the doors, damage them, and as the match goes on, the doors essentially become useless. The idea is that you can use doors to your advantage early on in the game. Obviously, with doors being destructible, people are going to try to destroy the doors as early as possible to avoid the camping problem. So, someone can shoot an RPG and take the door out, but you being in that building, now you know exactly where they are, and you know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to destroy the door, and they're going to go in. So you do have that early advantage, being behind the door, that you know where your enemy's coming. But that advantage will be completely gone as the map progresses because doors will be destructible. And that's what I think the best way of doing it is, because it forces campers to get the fuck out of the buildings and stop hiding behind the doors and stop putting claymores behind the doors, because there won't be any doors. So I think that would be a good thing, is you can have the doors, but make them destructible. And you guys talk about realism, well, that's realistic. If you damage a door, if you shoot through a door, it gets damaged in a real combat situation. So I think that would be the best way to handle it. And I think the building should also be more destructible. Maybe not as destructible as Battlefield, where it's literally the whole building can come down and you have no cover at all. I think they could do a little bit of a balance between no destructibility and full destructibility. I think they can kind of have a middle ground where not the entire building can be leveled, but certain parts of it where the campers like to snipe near the windows, you can blow off some parts of that to make them more visible and make them more vulnerable. Because camping is the biggest problem in this game. We need to do, the developers, Infinity Ward, they need to do everything they can to make it less campy. Now, I think that was the big problem with 2019 that they need to address, and the doors were a big part of it, and the weapon mounting is also a big thing, and people are saying we need to get rid of weapon mounting because there's a lot of head glitch. They can peek their head out and have the weapon angled at a certain way, and it gives them an unfair advantage. That's what people are saying. But I think, if you improve the visibility, make nameplates a lot more visible, and do whatever, to make it just overall, to make enemies easier to see, I think the weapon mounting won't be as big of a problem. I think that is more to do with the visibility than just being able to mount your weapon, because I don't think you should take away weapon mounting. I think it does make for a little bit more interesting engagements, having that weapon mounted, even though it kind of helps you camp a little bit, and if someone's shooting, it's a lot easier to just get out of it, because you're mounted instead of being right in front of the door. So I guess, I can see where people are coming from when they say get rid of the mounting, but I don't think that's entirely necessary, because if they just fix the visibility, you can see when someone's mounting their weapon and you can just take them out. I mean, it's a lot more fair that way. But anyway, another thing, the skill-based matchmaking. We're finally going to talk about skill-based matchmaking. Bring back the map vote. Do not close the lobbies after every match. Modern Warfare 2019, what they try to do is make it as strict as possible to make skill-based matchmaking match you with new players every single game to make it as accurate as possible, to make sure you're being matched with people with a similar skill level. I think it's completely against what Call of Duty is all about. Call of Duty is not supposed to be a competitive game. Yes, obviously the competitive scene in Call of Duty has existed since Call of Duty 4, really. So I'm not trying to say the competitive scenes should go away completely, but that should not be the focus of the experience. I understand it's to make bad players feel like they're actually good. I understand the whole concept of skill-based matchmaking. There could be some benefits to it. But I think it's doing a lot more harm than good in the Call of Duty series, and they really need to overhaul it or just get rid of it completely, because this is just not working. I mean, finding a match takes so much longer because of skill-based matchmaking, because they don't prioritize connection. They prioritize skill, and the games are always sweaty as hell. I always feel like I'm in $1 million championship match. That's what every game of Modern Warfare feels like. It's just way too sweaty for a pub game. It makes it less fun because there's less variety. Yeah, it's fun to have games out there where you're getting like a 20-25 kill streak. And yeah, and also have games that are very competitive where you're barely pulling a 1 KD. But those games where you're struggling to get a 1 KD because everyone's on the same playing field, that shouldn't dominate the entire experience. You should have more variety because the game will feel more fresh that way. The whole idea of online multiplayer is that every game feels like a new experience. But with skill-based matchmaking, that's just not the case, unfortunately. It feels so repetitive and so boring because, like I said, every match is like you're competing for Call of Duty Championship, and it's just not, it's not good. It's really not good. So, maybe not remove it completely, but they need to make it so much less strict than it is. Bring back the lobbies. Bring back the map voting. If nothing else, because that's what the original Call of Duty experience was all about. It was about running into random people and playing with them for a few games. Not getting disconnected from them every match. Like, it feels like the community is not there when they do that. Like, it's just, I feel so disconnected from the community when I'm disconnected every single game. So that's something they should really change, because the skill-based matchmaking is so, it really dilutes the experience. I mean, I can tell you, like, the amount of times I've seen a chopper gunner on, like, my one finger. I'm not counting shipment, like, regular gameplay. I rarely see a chopper gunner being used, because they're a high kill streak and no one ever gets to them because of how competitive games are. You'd be lucky to get a 3 KD or a 4 KD in any game of Modern Warfare. And I'll tell you guys this too. I've played Modern Warfare 2019 for a full year at this point. On and off, I haven't played it as much as other people have, but I have never seen a tactical nuke in this game. Ever. I've never seen it. Not once. It's because no one's gonna go on a 25 kill streak or a 30 kill streak or whatever the fuck it is. I don't even know. But the skill-based matchmaking is like taking on the entire point of playing Call of Duty, which is to go on long streaks. Skill-based matchmaking makes that harder for players of all skill levels. So it all comes down to skill-based matchmaking, but that just needs to be fixed. The kill streaks need to be fixed. The entire kill streak system is very flawed. First of all, why do we have kill streaks in objective game modes in Modern Warfare 2019? Why? I know they have a point man perk where you can transform that into score streaks, but it's a useless perk and no one uses it because the other perks in that slot are so much more useful. That's why. There's no reason to have a kill streak only system in Domination. The simple solution is to have kill streaks in Team Deathmatch and Free-for-All, and then have score streaks for everything else. All the objective game modes, Search and Destroy, Domination, Kill Confirmed, everything that counts on getting higher score and playing a certain type of objective, that should just be score streak, because score streak is the best system. I'd be really mad if they borrow the whole system from Treyarch. I'm not going to be very happy. Honestly, I think the Modern Warfare 2019 streak system is better than the garbage that Treyarch gave us this year. So I'm just putting that out there, because that's terrible. No, they need to just kill streaks for TDM and free-for-all, because those are the only non-objective game modes you'll ever play, and then everything else is a simple score streak system. The one from Black Ops 2, the one from Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare. Score streaks, regular score streaks. That's what we need for objective game modes. And then the kill streaks are more suitable in TDM and free-for-all. And that's a very simple revision that they can do. And that would make the game so much better. Also, can we have a real minimap? Nobody asked for them to change the minimap. Absolutely no one. But they still did. We didn't get a real minimap in Modern Warfare 2019. And it's just really annoying. So can we please get the original minimap back in Modern Warfare 2? And the spawns. The spawns are some of the worst spawns I've ever seen in video game history, in online gaming history. I mean, I've played so many online multiplayer games, and it's never been quite as bad as this. I mean, the spawns make absolutely no sense. There's just no logic behind them. So in Modern Warfare 2, it's very simple. Change the spawn system back to the way it was in the older CODs. Because in the first Modern Warfare, they were insufferable. I mean, you'd spawn and you'd die. That was Modern Warfare 2019. Just bring back the old spawn systems that they've had in previous Call of Duties, in the older Call of Duties, because you know how the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, that's how I feel about the entire spawn system in Modern Warfare 2019. And the streak system, too. Like in previous Call of Duty games. Why'd they have to fuck with that in Cold War? Please don't fuck with the streaks. Just kill streaks, score streaks, have them both. Like, why do they have to keep fucking with it? Why do they have to keep changing shit that doesn't need to be changed? Why do we have to get rid of a minimap? Like, a regular minimap. No one complained about the minimap, but they have to fuck with everything because Infinity Ward can't help themselves. And it's just... It's really... Modern Warfare 2019 was a really frustrating experience for me. Even more frustrating than the original Modern Warfare 2. But there's just simple things that they could just change back to the way it was before, and it'll be so much better. Like, keep the gunplay, keep all the innovations you brought, the Gunsmith and all that really made Call of Duty feel like a more fresh experience. But you don't need to just revise everything. Just because it's a reboot, you don't need to reboot all the features, everything that we loved from Call of Duty. They don't need to do that. That's so unnecessary, but they did it anyway with Modern Warfare 2019, and those are simple fixes they can make that'll just make the game so much better. That'll make Modern Warfare 2 so much better than the original. And they just need to address the biggest flaw that Modern Warfare 2019 had, is that it goes above and beyond to punish good players and reward bad players. Between the doors, the head glitching, low visibility, the camper-friendly map design, the thick skill-based matchmaking, it's 10 times worse than the death streaks we got from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. Remember death streaks? Oh my god, they were awful. Last Stand, Martyrdom, Juiced. Ugh, those were awful, but this is even worse than the death streaks they had back in the day. It benefits the bad players who aren't good at video games at all, and it punishes the people who actually are good at the game. And they need to change all of that in order for Modern Warfare 2 to actually be a good game. There's a couple of things they could also change, like the co-op, nobody cared because it was just thrown together. Maybe they can overhaul that a little bit, especially survival mode. I mean, it was so awesome in Modern Warfare 3, but nobody gave a fuck about it in 2019. Even after it was brought to all platforms, people were like, this sucks ass. Like, they can make it so much better, but they don't. Like, they definitely need to fix the co-op, because the co-op in this game is just so underwhelming. So in the sequel, they can improve upon that, make Spec Ops better. Ground War is another thing, make it more destructible. I mean, the whole point of Ground War, I feel, was to capitalize on the success of Battlefield and also on the failure of Battlefield 5. I feel like Infinity Ward saw an opening to bring the Battlefield players over to Call of Duty with Ground War, but Battlefield players hate Ground War because of the lack of destructibility, the lack of variety with vehicles, you know, like no jets, and like there just aren't a lot of vehicles that you can use. So make it more destructible, give us more vehicles, and the maps can also be improved, because later on they just ripped chunks from Warzone and put them in Ground War. Like, if they really want to be serious, they need to put some more love and attention into Ground War if they really want to compete with Battlefield. It's a pretty long list of things that they can fix in the game, but that's all I have so far. I know this was a really long video, a lot longer than I usually do, but I want to just get it all out there a year before this game comes out, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But if you made this far, let me know what you guys want to see in the Modern Warfare reboot sequel, Modern Warfare 2. And if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like and subscribe for more content. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.